In Chechnya, detained gay people are forcibly sent to the front to fight against Ukraine. According to human rights activists from the SOS crisis group, Chechen security forces have begun forcibly sending detained homosexual men to the front in Ukraine. It is noted that they are being blackmailed into volunteering for the front. SOS is reliably aware of at least 7 such cases, in one of which a person died. According to our data, the schemes of forced dispatch to war began to operate even before the announcement of partial mobilization on September the 21st, 2022 in the Russian Federation. In early September of that year, 6 men were detained on suspicion of homosexual orientation. The publication says, "It is noted that gay men were threatened, that a criminal case would be fabricated against them, and they would be sent to a pre-trial detention facility to await sentencing, where information about their orientation would become known to their cellmates." As an alternative, the men were offered to pay a ransom or volunteer to fight in the war against Ukraine. In the end, 3 of the detainees were forced to agree to volunteer, as the ransom amount was too much for their families. In particular, the security forces extorted 1.5 million rubles, approximately $16.4 thousand. One of the volunteers died at the front. The arrests continued the following year. In 2023, several representatives of the LGBTQ+ community were detained during one of the raids. The girls were handed over to relatives that evening, and 4 guys were forced to go to Ukraine. Their further fate is unknown, the resource writes. Let us recall that while the occupiers are shooting Ukrainian prisoners, Russia is not taking back its seriously wounded soldiers, although Kiev is ready to give them up even without an exchange. According to Irina Krinina, a representative of the Ukrainian public movement I Want to Find, all that is needed for this is a request from the Russian side.
The 12th Special Forces Azov Brigade helped to avert a catastrophic situation in New York in Donetsk Oblast, unblocking surrounded Ukrainian soldiers and regaining part of the settlement, the brigade said. New York lies just south of Toretsk, a key frontline town that has become one of the focal points of the Russian offensive in Donetsk Oblast. At the time the brigade was deployed to the area, the situation on the front line was catastrophic, the Azov Brigade said on X. However, thanks to the high morale, courage, and professionalism of the brigade's fighters, Azov managed to stabilize the situation, regain control of part of New York, and unblock the defense forces, which were surrounded by enemy troops. The Azov Brigade nevertheless acknowledged that the situation in the settlement remains tense as Russian forces conducted up to 15 ground assaults in the unit's area of responsibility within a day. Russia has been pushing deeper into New York over the past weeks in an attempt to encroach on the important town of Toretsk. While Moscow has repeatedly claimed a full capture of New York, the Azov Brigade refuted the statement, saying that Ukrainian forces continue holding the defenses. Ukraine's success in the area appears to be corroborated by the crowdsourced Deep State Monitoring Service, which shows Ukrainian forces regaining ground in northern New York and in neighboring Nelipivka. Soldiers of the invading Russian army have used armored combat vehicles to close the passage under the railway bridge near Selevoda village of Pokrovsk district in eastern Donetsk region. The invaders, who blocked the road with at least 4 vehicles, fled, abandoning the T-72 tank, which was fully operational. As a result, the crossing was opened, and the tank worth $4 million was taken away by fighters of the Karadag unit of the Ukrainian National Guard's 15th Brigade. The crew members of the tank trying to hide were killed by shells fired from the drone.